Hello everyone, it's time for Centro travel. Today I start early at Haneda Airport Terminal 2. It's almost 6 o'clock. It's still dark outside. The Christmas tree is beautiful. Flying at 6:30 in the morning is tough. I made an effort to wake up early and head out. The flight departs in 30 minutes, so let's hurry through security. Since I'm heading to Kyushu, I'm departing from the usual bus terminal. Priority boarding has already started. It looks like there's no time for a meal, so I'll just hop on the bus. This time, it's a 2-day trip to Kagoshima. When you think of Kagoshima, is it Sakurajima? I want to try all the delicious food too. The 787 was waiting for me. So sleek. It takes about 2 hours from Haneda to Kagoshima, right? It's just a bit, but it adds to my SSC mileage run. Mount Fuji is visible on the right. Flights heading west are definitely best with a right side window seat. I fell asleep, and before I knew it, I was landing. The morning sun is dazzling. And with that, I've arrived at Kagoshima Airport. It's still only 8:30 in the morning. I can make the most out of the whole day. Waking up early was totally worth it. At the airport, Saigo-san welcomes you. I wonder what he's holding in his hand. It seems to be a natural hot spring foot bath. It doesn't seem to be open yet at this time. If I have time on the way back, I'll check it out. My companion for this trip is a Toyota Raze. Kagoshima is vast, so I plan to explore it by car. So I've suddenly crossed Kagoshima and made it all the way to Makurazaki. Makurazaki Fish Center. When you think of Makurazaki, it's all about bonito. I haven't eaten anything since morning, so I'm ready for something. The anticipation is building. You can take as much bonito flakes and broth as you want. I go with funado meshi. It's topped with marinated bonito, bonito flakes, egg, and a few other ingredients. This is the unlimited bonito broth you can take and drink as much as you like. What a luxury. I was given this guide as well. The broth has a rich, deep color. It's rich and flavorful. Alright, let's pour the broth over. That should be about right. I can tell it's going to be delicious even before taking the bite. Alright, let's dig in. It was quite a large portion, and now I'm really full. Alright, let's head to the next destination. They came over here. The fur has that wild look to it. So, I've come to Kaimon Sanroku Nature Park to see the Toara Horses. The horses are freely roaming around the ground. 2 horses that don't seem to stick with the herd. Maybe they're adult males? In this area with a clear view of the sea, there was a group of horses hanging out together. It seems like they're saying something. Suddenly, they all moved away at once. If it was because of a strange human showing up, I'm truly sorry. It's fascinating how they all take the same action without any apparent communication. The group from earlier was grazing on a different slope. This time, I'll stay in the car and just observe. They're so cute. There's a fenced pasture nearby. I heard 13 foals were born this year. The Toara Horses, native to the Toara Islands, they've been designated as a natural monument and are being protected at this ranch. It seems there are only about 100 Toara horses left. On the way back to Kagoshima City, I stopped by Ibusuki. The sand bath is just over there. Steam is rising from the shoreline. It must mean the sandy beach is that warm. I've never seen anything like this before. It looks like you can experience the sand bath inside there. I have to head back to Kagoshima City today, but I'd love to try it someday. It's a bath culture that's been around long before saunas became trendy. Staff started digging up the sandy beach. Depending on the weather, the number of visitors, or other conditions, they probably offer sand baths here as well. But it's funny to think about how someone in the past saw this steam and thought, wouldn't it be warm if I buried myself in the sand? It's such a surreal culture. I found a pamphlet, and it looks like they do offer sand baths here too. During the period of rapid economic growth, there must have been a huge crowd around here. I'll head to Kagoshima City by car now. I've arrived in the Tenmon area, the center of Kagoshima. The hotel I'll be staying at today is the Richmond Hotel. It's really convenient since it's directly connected to the arcade. The room is a fairly standard single room. Alright, I'll drop off my luggage and head out. Tenmon Mujaki, which is just a 30-second walk from the hotel. The shirokuma, shaved ice dessert, is famous here. There was a fairly realistic looking one. Kagoshima specialty, the original ice shirokuma. There's a one order per person rule here. One won't be a problem. There are so many different types. I was imagining the kind you see sold at convenience stores. This basic one looks good too. I'll go with the pudding shirokuma. Hey, try touching the shirokuma. It's sure to be a great day. Freshly painted. That's quite the trap. After waiting for about 20 minutes, I was able to get inside. It seems they also offer delivery nationwide. I'm thinking of going with the pudding shirokuma. They also have meals available. Other than the shirokuma, a lot of the items look pretty delicious too. I wonder if the locals in the know would order something like this. They even have shochu. I'll hold off on the alcohol until later tonight. It's here. I placed a coffee milk next to it to give a sense of the size. Hope it helps convey how big it is. It's much bigger than I expected, and it's a bit overwhelming. I think this is probably shaped like a shirokuma's face, right? The pudding is like the hat. I've eaten about half of it. The ice is sweet all the way through. At this point, my mouth is numb from the cold. I've eaten quite a bit, almost there. It's tough with the cold, but the variety of fruits on top keeps it interesting and enjoyable. I finished it all. It was delicious. It would be great to come with a group and share different flavors. When you're alone, this is about the limit. I just discovered a manju shop right nearby. It's called Horaku Manju. It's made with pure domestically produced honey. It looks more like a dorayaki than a typical manju. I think I'll try one. I brought it back to the hotel room. I guess it's part of the dorayaki family. I went with the red bean filling. It's delicious, but I'm already full. I finished up some work, and now it's evening, so it's time for dinner. It's unagi soyoshi. I wonder if they also make bento for the train station. Kagoshima has the highest production of farmed eel in Japan. I'm looking forward to it. Should I go for unaju or unadon? Is the sauce poured over the rice in unadon? I think I'll go with unaju then. Since I'm here, I'll go for the unaju with the highest option. I think I'll get some sake as well. Sake is perfect for rich dishes like unaju. Unaju has arrived. It comes with miso soup too. I think I'll try it as it is first. It was so tender and fluffy when I ate it, just as it was. Next, I'll put it on the rice. The rice itself is really delicious too. This might be the best white rice I've had all year. At the end, I did something a little naughty and poured the leftover sauce on top. I can totally understand why there's a line. It's that delicious. I finished it in no time. I'll definitely have it again the next time I come to Kagoshima. Kagoshima City has streetcars running, huh? Alright, I'll head back to the hotel and rest for the day. Good morning. The wind is pretty strong today. It's time for lunch now. I couldn't have breakfast because of work, so this is more like brunch. The inside of the restaurant has a very calm atmosphere. Shops with that vibe from the cafe boom era are still great. Today's lunch plate is lasagna. It looks delicious. The cheese is all melted and gooey. The bread, which was like a campagne that came with it, was also delicious. It was delicious. I'm glad I did some research and found a good cafe. After the meal, I also got cheesecake and coffee. I asked for a cafe latte. It was a very satisfying lunch set. The latte has beautiful foam and tastes great too. Alright, let's get started with sightseeing today. On the second day, I've come to Teruni Shrine. I saw a huge torii gate while driving, so I decided to stop by. This Teruni Shrine is dedicated to the Shimazu family. When you think of Kagoshima, it's the land of the Shimazu family, the lords of the Satsuma domain. It seems this shrine was established about 160 years ago. Ah, I thought so. It's a 160th anniversary project. It turns out the current chief priest is also a descendant of the Shimazu family. Maintaining something like this must require an enormous amount of money. Due to the separation of religion and politics, taxes can't be used for religious facilities, so they have to fund it themselves. It's managed by the Tamazato Shimazu family, a branch of the Shimazu clan. We should be grateful to the successive heads of the family who have maintained this on their own. The massive torii gate is a symbol of their achievements. Having such a long history is quite a heavy responsibility. It's about a 15-minute drive from the city center. I've arrived at Sengan-en. This is also a place connected to the Shimazu family, and the old residence is still standing here. From the garden, you can see Sakurajima looming in the distance. It's a breathtakingly large borrowed landscape. It seems you can also see a beautiful scene of Sakurajima and cherry blossoms together in spring. They really created something full of charm and character. You can actually go inside the old residence and take a look. It looks like there's a chrysanthemum exhibition today, as chrysanthemums are displayed all around the garden. Right next to Sengan-en, there's also a retro-style Starbucks. Let's go ahead and check it out. The interior has been renovated. It still retains a bit of the Meiji and Taisho era atmosphere. The building is 2 stories high. There are plenty of seats on the 2nd floor as well. Alright, let's move on to the next spot. I'm heading to Sakurajima now. I've boarded the ferry heading to Sakurajima. I ended up going straight from the regular road all the way into the ferry. It looks like the fare is paid on the Sakurajima side. There were already plenty of passengers on board the ferry. This must be the famous Yabukina. If you don't order as soon as you board, you'll probably finish eating before you even arrive. Another ferry just pulled in next to us. Looking at it like this, it's actually a pretty big ship. It carries a lot of people and cars, playing an important role as the local means of transportation. This ferry will depart as the other one arrives. It's only about a 15-minute ride to Sakurajima. Sakurajima is once again puffing out smoke today. It's an active volcano. It's one of the most active volcanoes in Japan. It's erupted nearly 80 times this year alone. Recently in 2015, it reportedly erupted 1,200 times in a year. Nowadays, with advances in technology, we're able to monitor it to some extent. But for people in the past, it must have been a source of fear and awe. A ferry has arrived from the opposite side. Ferries are an important means of transportation for daily life in Kagoshima Bay. Sakurajima is just up ahead now. After this, I'll check out a few spots related to the eruptions before heading back. We're about to dock, so let's head back to the car. After disembarking and paying at the gate, the Sakurajima Drive begins. There are evacuation shelters all over the island. About 4,700 people still live on Sakurajima. In the event of an eruption, people must evacuate according to the hazard map. This is the Sakurajima port where I just landed. I've made my way around to the opposite side from there. This is the buried torii in the Kurokami area. This torii was buried during the great eruption of the Taisho era and has been left as it is. This is it right here. It's completely buried, with only the top part of the torii gate visible. It seems that during the great eruption, about 100 years ago, around 2 meters of volcanic ash and pumice piled up. In just one day, the entire area must have changed drastically. Thanks to that, we can now drive over to the peninsula side like this. It's about time, so I'll head to the airport now. I've returned to the parking lot near the airport. There isn't much time until security, so let's hurry. I've made it to the airport. When I think of Kagoshima Airport, I think of Uzora Shokudo, right? There's 25 minutes left. It should be fine, probably. When it comes to Uzora Shokudo, it's this dish, right? It's the chicken rice buffet, right? It's a famous dish where you can make it yourself. You can add chicken, shiitake mushrooms, and seasonings like this, then pour chicken broth over it to enjoy. Alright, let's eat quickly. Thank you for the meal. It's really delicious, isn't it? There are 19 minutes left. This should be fine. I'm glad I was able to eat. It doesn't seem too crowded at the security checkpoint either. That's the charm of a small, compact airport. I passed through security, so I'm all set from here. I'm taking a flight that departs in 30 minutes, heading back to Tokyo. The aftertaste of the chicken rice is still lingering, so I ended up buying this. Kagoshima really has delicious food. The return flight is on a 787. After this flight, I'll be about 4 more flights away from reaching my goal for the diamond status. This time, the aircraft was quite nice and clean. The display is quite large. The Haneda-Kagoshima route seems to be one with relatively high demand, doesn't it? The seat pitch felt a bit narrow. It felt a bit like an LCC. The plane has started moving. It looks like it's going to be a flight with the sunset in view. We're taking off now. Kagoshima was so much fun. I can see Sakurajima bathed in the sunset. It's right in the middle of Kagoshima Bay, and its presence is really striking. I think it's been since high school since I last came to Kagoshima, but I had a great time. And with that, this video comes to an end. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.